everyone, and welcome to the American Scouser Therapy Show. Post-match, Liverpool 0, Forest 1. We're all gathered around, grab a couch, and let's get this started. God, that was painful to watch, man. That was definitely painful to watch. But, John, we'll start with you. What the fuck happened?
I don't know, man. And like I said, I don't know if I could have made this show because I had a lot of stuff to do on a Saturday, typical Saturday.
Okay. First of all, can we call a timeout over here? And what you refer to as errands, this guy who was like a kid approximately 2 months ago. Am I right, Serzi? He was a kid 2 months ago. Now his errand is he has to go to Costco. So go ahead. Now that you're an adult with us, going to Costco.
I mean, am I wrong for being bummed going to Costco though? I'm fucking miserable every time I gotta go to Costco, man. It's fucking hard to get parking. There are loads of people. I gotta dodge people in the line. You got kids running all over the place, my guy.
I'm just like, if we're going on a weekend, but this is not gonna. Yeah, you're already gonna go frustrated, but.
Right, exactly.
What happened? What was the difference? We went with the same starting 11, the winning formula. Yeah. What was different?
It looks like a completely different team that played the first 3 games right now. I don't know if it's fatigue, right? Because a lot of these players came back from some heavy international duty. I don't know if it just was one of those matches where things just don't click, right? Because there are 1 or 2 plays there where we're just like, what is going on? Like any other game, they make that right pass and then it leads to the other pass that leads to a goal. I don't know. It just could be one of those games. It's hard to go in here and kind of overthink the hell out of it. But then I understand if you do, because at the end of the day, like we lost 1-0 at home to a team that we should not be dropping. Well, if we're going to be dropping points against this side, it's probably a draw, right? But then, I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards more of, sure, we didn't get to do our job, but then Forest did theirs, and they did it very well, so massive credit to them. Nuno, freaking underrated manager, I would say. Great tactician in terms of willing to do what it takes to get the result. Perfect example, right? And this is like a result of the ages for them. So as much as I'm bummed, mad respect to those guys for coming into our house, making us look extremely mediocre for 95 minutes, and coming away with 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, Salim, it was like a typical Nuno game. We were talking about that right before we went on air. This is the same kind of stuff he did on Wolves. I actually thought he kind of rolled the dice a little bit too early. And I was hoping, he got excited too early by putting in like some like attacking force and stuff like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, was this basically the first time we played against a team that really sat back and we struggled to ultimately open them up with this new setup?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. We got to kind of look at it, from a full perspective that Diaz hit the post. I have no idea how Szoboszlai's shot in the 88th minute didn't go in. But generally speaking, overall, it was just a tougher low block opponent that we were not able to crack. Back in the days with Klopp, this is kind of familiar to us, unfortunately, I think the big thing here is that if I told you at the beginning of the season, before anything happened, that, hey, we would have 3 wins, 1 loss after 4 games, I think we'd all be okay with it. Just with the understanding that we didn't know what was going to. Just with the understanding that we didn't know how Slot would take this team and kind of implement his tactics. So I'm frustrated, and the team was clearly frustrated. I mean, hands were going up, people were getting upset. So it shows that they care, but it was a tough one, and I think the low block and us missing a couple chances really just, it is what it is.
Sir Z, welcome to the therapy session. So what the hell happened? What is your take on that? I mean, I think maybe not a loss in terms of what Salim just said. Maybe if somebody said, hey, out of the first 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw, I would have guessed we draw at Old Trafford away. Right. And that's not a poor result, and I would maybe go on. But having won that one, having been on a roll, this looked like on paper it should be a win, and nowhere near it.
Just got outplayed, outclassed, out everything. It's, I don't know. We waxed lyrical about Slot, and
Kind of lost him for a bit there, yeah.
Oh, we lost your sound there.
Can you hear me?
So
Can you
angry
hear me?
the mic doesn't work. Yes,
Yes,
go ahead.
Cersei's sound is like us today. Yeah. It's like,
It's just depressing. It's like, why would you pick a team that, like, all the team just like flew halfway across the world? They're all shattered. You had like a bench. We haven't played in hardly any games this season. Like, what do they have to do to start a game? And they're all fresh. You know, I know Nuno's on there, but you know, Nuno's can play. He can score. Like, Akpo can score. Like, it's just unbelievable. It's, you know, it just that midfield was just outplayed. So Bosley, I don't know. Even Stevie Wonder can see Sir Bosley was a fucking shit today. Like, why would you not have taken him off? Seriously, you have Chiesa. Like, at least put him on the bench. Do something. Like, I think he's got starts being found out to then. Like, now he has to earn his money in the next game.
I mean, it wasn't for like lack of options, to be fair, but I mean, okay, the starting 11. Let's start with that. I know, especially Kazi was like really critical of it. I don't know if I have as much problems with it. It was more like when I saw the starting 11. I guess I wasn't concerned about this game. I was more like, what the hell is going to happen on Tuesday was my initial reaction. So, I mean, do you agree? Because obviously Cersei is critical of it. But okay, before I give it to you, Jan, real quick, Cersei, when you first saw the starting 11, were you okay with it or not? Or does the
I was. Admittedly, I was, because I thought that is our strongest 11.
Okay.
But my biggest fear I had was watching the first 3 games is that how we would come back from going a goal down, because we haven't looked like a team that can score at will like we did with Klopp. Like, if this even going 1-0 when we did, that was a Klopp team, I still wouldn't think would lose the game. I still think would come back and win. But with Slots, the way Slots played last week, I feel that with him. So I knew the moment we went down, we were going to lose this game.
How about you, John? The starting 11. When you see the starting 11, are you okay with it or not? I think because like I think we're semi-judging it now based on what we saw from the performance and stuff. But you open it up, the app says here's the lineup, and you say
we win. We win easily. I like I mentioned the pre-match, we would dissect them, and we got fucking dissected. And I remember closing that with famous last words. They were indeed famous last words for us. First Anfield loss, and it's so early. Like, whenever the rare seasons that we lost at Anfield under Klopp, they came in deep into the season. So granted, it's Slot's first season, so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But for me, as Salim kind of pointed out, this is Slot's Burnley moment. I don't know if y'all remember 2016-17 season. We went away to Burnley after beating Arsenal 3-4 on the first day, all high hopes. And then we go to Burnley and we get beat 2-0 in classic Sean Dyche fashion. This kind of Klopp's welcome to the Premier League moment. I think this is Arne Slot's welcome to the Premier League moment, where you kind of have teams here who are willing to absolutely abandon the principle of the beautiful game just to get the result. And this is like his introduction to that. In terms of the team, a lot of below average performances today. In hindsight, obviously, you'd say like, oh, we should have started with Nunez there. Oh, we should have started with Gakpo there. It's just that you can't get a result when you have too many key guys, Salah, Diaz, Jota, Szoboszlai, even McAllister sometimes, playing below average games. Even the guys who were playing solid games, like let's say a Gravenberch, not to feature him. I'm trying to be objective here because I thought Gravenberch was pretty okay, right? Not spectacular, right? But just okay. You need someone out of those 11 to go like, hey, I need that moment. I need that moment of brilliance. And then we didn't have that today. So that's unfortunate. No, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I mean, Cyrus' starting 11 was perfect. Problems began with Slot's early substitution.
He had to make the change, though. He had to make the change.
It didn't. I mean, I agree with Nick over here, Salim. Like, Slot's tactics will need to adjust to the low block. More than the low block. I mean, okay, like after the first 3 games, now we didn't have a freaking sample size, right? Because you can't look at preseason. Now the teams are looking at what we do. And you could clearly see that they were taking away that pass that would go up the middle to Gravenberch and Mac. They kept moving around, but that, like, the passing lane was never there. I agree with when Nick says he was outmanaged by Nuno in terms of it didn't seem like we had a plan B for that. So you take this away, then we do this. Was it just execution of plan B, or the plan B is not really set?
I think, Yates number 22 is like the perfect like microcosm of what this team wanted to do today.
Yeah.
Just, play physical, get in the passing lanes, low block, get the ball out of there. And, we just got hit on a counter. I mean, Nuno's a good coach, like regardless, he's had some rough stints, but he's a good coach, and he's an older coach than Slot. So probably he's got a little bit more in his bag than Slot does. Slot's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We have a good team. We have, a coach that we all can kind of see the progression of the team. I understand. We are all pissed off because that's a game that it's a gut punch, right? So, I think in the long run we'll be okay, but I understand everybody's frustration. I'm okay with the starting 11 again, but it is what it is. Like I said before, on to the next one, and we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
I love that he relies more on the midfield, says Nick, but you need to adapt when teams take the midfield away. And they did. And honestly, the few times that we were able to do what we wanted to do, Serzi, and I think that's like the biggest frustration, right? We just made Nuno like Angelotti over here. But aside from that, there were times where we were able to get into a situation where we wanted. I can probably say 6-8 times in the first half. But the pass before the pass never really happened, and it was always off. Sparky says international hangover, which I'm so sick of because, they have international players too, and I don't understand. This is not the first time these guys go away to an international game and come back and be like, oh my God, I've never done this before, jet lag and stuff like that. You fucking do this like 10 times a season. Get used to it. If you're doing a commute, you fucking get used to it. So I'm not buying the hangover thing. Why couldn't we connect in that midfield? Only midfielder today was Max.
Get out of here, Sparky. Come on.
No. See, like Sparky is just going out of his way not to mention. I thought Gravenberg was really good.
I think Gravenberg was
the best player.
Yeah, and like I said, our final pass was poor. Our final pass was really, really poor. And Diaz was unlucky. I know Gally is saying, "Oh well, he should have finished it," but he made that chance out of nothing. Now that ball was going out.
That's true. That's true.
And the Diaz saved that ball from going out, and he created his own chance. So it's not like it was a clear chance. That chance wouldn't have been there if Diaz didn't fight to keep it in. So I really, I think it's just being nitpicky. I think McAllister had a poor game, in my opinion. He had a poor game, and he looked tired. But I think Gravenberch was our best midfielder. So Bosley should have come off a long time ago. And to bring on Jones when he did, what was Jones going to do? He's not an impact player. He should have started from the start or bring him on at halftime. The Bosley from bringing him on at halftime. Salah got man marks out of the game. He had a poor game. Jota, we know what he's like. He can go missing, but then he'll come out and score and he just didn't get the chances to score. He had like one or two
Man, the one he missed, I'll be honest, if Nunez misses that, we're talking about
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking about the cross for Maka?
Yeah, I mean, that was, you expect Jota to finish that. That was, like I say, if it's Nunez, we're probably talking a lot of shit. Sida says the poor depth. And I guess, the Jones, if anything, Salim, I expected Jones to come in for Szoboszlai. How did Szoboszlai stay on the pitch for 90 minutes? And I've been a defender of his. People give him a lot of shit, and he had a really poor game. And I was even saying in the first half, my wife was like, I was like overly critical of him probably in the first half, but he did a lot of work defensively at least. But he was very poor. Why didn't we? I thought when we lined up 3 players on the side, I thought it was a no-brainer that Szoboszlai was going to come out.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of the South American guys coming over. I think that's why he stayed on. For the first time, we haven't even talked about this today, is that Trent moved into the midfield when Connor Bradley came on, right? So
bring it on. Let's talk about that.
So, the 2 man of the match that Slot congratulated Trent when he came back to Merseyside, but Jones, I think Cersei said it best. He's not gonna, he's not like an electric player that's going to change the game. I said previously on the pre-show that he's whatever to me. He's not, I don't love him, I don't hate him. He's just kind of blah. If he goes, great. If he stays, that's fine as well. But the big thing here is I think we're looking at the result here, and we're not talking specifically about the scoring chances. Diaz hits the post. Maka to Jota, that was nice. Trent to Maka, the header, that was a great save. A couple of chances go in. We might be singing a different tune, but overall the performance was subpar, and that's something we can all agree on. Jones, like Cersei said, would never do anything.
Yeah, I think that was the frustration. I actually thought if Jones was in some of those situations that Szoboszlai is in, I feel like he plays faster with the ball. That's kind of like what I like about Jones. That you could see it after he came in, but he came in a really crap situation and
this is his first game as well, right, Tim?
Yeah, exactly. And that's
game.
like coming back in. I thought it was kind of like unfair to put anything on Jones. Honestly, like off the people that came off the bench, Bradley had a negative impact, and then I don't know if I was joking on Discord. I didn't even know. I was like, oh, Nunez is in. He did steal one ball that created the shot for Trent. But let's talk about that. John, my buddy, Trent in midfield.
Yeah, Trent to midfield. I get it. We had to do something. We had to do something different.
How did you like it? Did you enjoy that?
It was too open, but then at the same time, we had to do something. Like I'm kind of on the balance with it. Like I keep mentioning on the shows, Tim, I understand your arguments and I do agree with it. But I feel like in a situational kind of basis, if we ended up scoring with that move, we praise it, right? But then we didn't, and then it ended up on Bradley's side. I wouldn't say Trent was necessarily at fault for conceding that goal, and he did do his best on that midfield position. But then at the end of the day, it gets magnified because it led to a negative outcome. Is it something that I see Slot should be doing? Probably not, because of how good Trent has been on that right back position to start the season, right? And it's just we just got hard done. That goal was top class, by the way.
Initially I was like, what is Ali doing? Like, he didn't even dive. Right. I thought it was going wide based on his body language.
98
like, he wasn't doing anything, but
98 out of every 100 instances that goes wide or hits the post. So we just got done by a really, really good goal there. Granted, Bradley did not cover himself in glory, but it is what it is. Swings and roundabouts. We got done here. How many times have we done in the club era where we played like absolute ass and we steal one at the death through a similar goal? So we just happen to be at the receiving end now.
I mean, I know we had to do something, and when he switched, of course, everybody's like, "Oh, Timuchin, he's in midfield," and I was like, "I'll watch this. Like, he'll freaking turn this game around, and he'll be in midfield forever." But instead, Cersei, we saw, somebody over trying, and I think that's kind of unfair on him to be put in that position. Like, now he has to do something, and he played like a 10-year-old playing Madden, dropping back every time and hitting the long routes, and every single one was overthrown, if you will, because he tried to get the killer pass instead of kind of keeping on more pressure. It's almost bailed him out with the long pass that went to a goal kick. Long pass that went to a goal kick.
It's just desperation. There was no intelligence behind the passes. You're the vice captain. You need, you need to calm that midfield down and pick and choose your passes instead of going for these Hollywood passes. And he spent too much time in LA this year. It was just fucking. It was just. I hate this team.
I wish somebody tried to get the crowd going. Like one of these. After a corner kick, it just felt like. Everything was flat, and
this situation is where we needed to play with our hearts over our heads. I felt, because I remember seeing this headline against Man United. We won because we used our head over our heart, which I felt like was a little bit of a diss to Klopp. But then on the flip side, in situations like this where we need to freaking step our game up 5 gears and we need to get the crowd going. This is where a Jurgen Klopp probably would have. And I know we hate doing this, right? Because this is the new guy. We don't want to give any like semblance of our old manager of the old regime, but you can't help but do it, right? Especially
I
after
disagree with that, though. I mean, because Szoboszlai was playing with his heart, giving away needless fouls. Because if you're not playing with your head, you can play with your heart all you want. I mean, you're not
Just
going
couldn't, he couldn't play. It was just crap. We should.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He just couldn't play.
just play under control, and that's what I guess like did not. It's almost like we panicked and didn't stick to what we thought was going to work. I don't know, crowd being like I really Nick, you say this all the time. I'm not buying that at all. The influx of casuals, the casuals are actually excited to be there. It's people who are kind of like more demanding, I think, is the problem. But it's a lot easier to point out the oddball guys as the blame. You're telling me there were like 58,000 casuals there not making noise, or there's like, which one is the majority there? The home teams or the tourist supporters? I call bullshit on that.
I feel like if I rock up to Anfield now, I'd be considered a casual, to be fair. Granted, I do my.
Well, yeah, I mean, we would all be tourists.
Right, exactly.
So, yes,
so it's kind of unfair to kind of.
Yeah, unless you're born within 15 miles of the stadium, you're considered a tourist. And I call bullshit on that. That's why, because really the only time, I mean, that's a good point, Salim. I think the only time we saw that where we built pressure was after the Diaz incident. And then there was like a period for like 5 minutes or so. I think that's when Jota's situation came about, or maybe it was McAllister's header in the first half. The second half was really flat, and I do get that the people on the pitch have to give something to the stands to get going and get involved and stuff like that. But to be fair, that's when not playing with your head really hurts, because I felt like we gave the ball away. We did needless fouls. I mean, Szoboszlai was playing like Gravenberg from last year. It's like, stop fouling, because every time they fouled,
yeah,
obviously the entire stadium dies. It's another 30 seconds, and nothing came out of it. But Serzi, I mean, Salim is very optimistic, so I'm gonna like hang out with Salim.
It's just my nature, also, though, But I'm believe me, I'm fuming inside, but I'm trying to just kind of look at it with half glass full than half glass empty, which I think Serzi.
Oh, like looking at the shattered glass over here, Serzi. Where do we go? Serzi has thrown that glass on the wall already.
You need to calm down and stand up and just take blood pressure tablets. Seriously, my phone and Apple Watch is just going off, just like about to call 911 right now.
What's this casual thing? Like, I think like if I go as a casual to Anfield, I'm gonna like create as much noise as possible. I'll be so excited. It's kind of odd. That argument's kind of odd.
That's sadly a typical argument, and I will actually go back and watch when I was watching, and when they were singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," the tourists were singing, but there were some people who are like, you could tell they're regularly there, couldn't fucking care less, and they were just talking and stuff like that. So it's a bullshit argument. But this does bring a good point. I think Nick was mentioning this earlier, that, I mean, Mo just had a poor game, but really, God, man, John, apart from your boy Gravenberg, Van Dijk, I thought, was pretty solid overall.
Yeah, although he did lose a few duels.
Play against Wood, and he plays solid overall. But aside from that, I really can't pick a player that I thought was like above average. Like, if you did player ratings on this, I'm assuming 5 and 6 for most.
Yeah, 5 and 6 is even a couple of 4s and 3s. Salah dropped the 3, man. Like, it's very un-Salah-like. He looked like Marcus Rashford out there. Like, I'm just saying. Like, no impetus.
Like, Salah scored,
like,
he'd get a 10. He could have played B3 the whole game. And if he scored one goal, it would be a 10.
Right, exactly. Like, that 3 would suddenly be like a magical 7 or a magical 8. And I'm actually going to have to disagree with Van Dijk, Tim. I thought he lost a few aerial duels that normally he would have won. But his standard is quite so high that like anything that drops just a little bit below it, we see it. So I'd actually give him a 6. But yeah, aside from Gravenberg, maybe Alisson, you can't really fault him for that goal, right? He barely did anything, right?
I mean, what did he have to do aside from that? I mean, he had one save from like saving it from 2-0, which I think was offside. But yeah, I mean, he looked like post-January, Salah says, Nick. And
question for you guys, though. Sorry, Tim, to cut
you
off.
Go ahead.
But the Thursday crew, I posted a really good video about how Maka was talking about how we haven't nailed that number 9 spot yet. obviously first three games we won, Jota scored one, but he hasn't exactly stamped out his presence there. So is it a time that we actually try and go and see what Darwin Núñez is made of here? Because this is a perfect game where, like, obviously this isn't a game where you kind of had to have a guy who gives initiative, and that's Darwin Núñez. And I really would have liked to have seen him kind of start from the get-go instead of giving him like a 30 or 25-minute limit to kind of give and stamp his like impact here. So I don't know. It just made me like the clip
He was out there 30 minutes though, and aside from one ball that he won by pressuring that fell in front of Trent, when he doesn't have space, I feel like he gets lost in this defense.
The thing is though, Tim, what Jota did in 60 minutes, it's just the same as what Darwin did in 30. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like both of them had similar impacts, and Darwin just happened to be there at a lesser time. So maybe if we started him, it could have worked. Maybe it's time to kind of roll the dice.
What do you think? I mean, I know like Serzi. I mean, I'm assuming since we play on Tuesday, and some of these guys did play the 90. We are going to see a lot of rotation at San Siro, which is, I don't know if we wanted to see that now, but
and I'm overly critical of Núñez, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, does Núñez get a look there then? Gakpo and maybe your boy
Chiesa? They have to. It's they definitely have plays. I think the European game will suit Núñez better than a league game. I think Núñez, Gakpo, and Salah would go for on Tuesday, and did definitely put Chiesa on the bench. Jota, I love Jota. I don't know. He just goes missing too much, and I don't know. I'm just really angry.
I mean, like I say, if he popped in that, and normally you expect Jota to finish there, you'd be like, this is why Jota is there. So when he misses that, obviously. But I mean, Núñez away is probably a better concept than Núñez sitting, like playing against a low block, John. So I'm assuming we will get to see him. But I mean,
it's all in hindsight, of course. It's all in hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, right? Like I say, I mean, I find it hard to criticize the starting 11 because when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, so we're rolling the dice with Champions League. We're playing it safe here. That was my reaction. So I don't want to go back and change that and criticize it now that, this is how the game unfolds. I feel like that's unfair. If Chiesa is not on the bench in Italy, I might get a smooth worried. I think he will be. I would not even be shocked if he gets a start because he's familiar with the Italian league bullshit. The classic. We might put that. He really knows the opponent kind of a crap. But okay, let's wrap things up over here so Serzi can go take his medication and do whatever the heck he's got to do. But Serzi, where do we go from here towards Tuesday?
I don't even know. I don't know where we're going the next hour, let alone Tuesday.
Well, we know where John is going. He's going to freaking Costco. But while
in a few hours,
what is this team going to be doing? And what will you be getting at Costco?
Well, what I'll be getting at Costco, their ribs are absolutely glorious, man. I got to make that trip worth it.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to make that trip worth it. Hopefully, they got some meatloaf as well. So I got my. Yeah, they have some meatloaf. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Are you talking about ready to go stuff?
Ready to go? Nah, you got to put them in the oven.
So ready to go. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's ready to go.
What is ready? Like they're like feeding it into your mouth over there.
Where do we go from here? Kind of what I mentioned a while ago. This is Slot's Burnley 2-0 moment for Klopp, and this is a learning experience for him coming into this league. It's 100% different from the Eredivisie. So, this is it. This is like your welcome to the Premier League moment. And if I was going to pick a time for this to happen, it would have been now. Like, get this out of the way. Like, he knows now that, okay, some teams are going to be like this. So you better have that plan B, plan C, plan D if plan A isn't working out. So, like Salim, I'm trying to look at it with a more positive thing. Trying my best, keyword trying, but still got it, of course. So, Tuesday, I think we have to come off with at least a draw.
I say the best for last. I say the positivity for last. So Salim,
just
over the line with that positivity over here.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Take us over the line. With
Okay, all right.
Approach.
Cersei, smile, man. It's not the end of the world. I know you're frustrated, man. I get it. We're all frustrated, man. That was a frustrating game.
No, now I
But-
have to go around chores with my wife, and it just gets worse after.
Well, all right. So, I mean, AC Milan next, Bournemouth after that. A good kick in the teeth here. Well, it's all about the reaction now, right? What kind of reaction are we going to have at AC Milan, and what kind of reaction are we going to have in Bournemouth? I think we're going to be okay. I see AC Milan game. I think that's a great shout by Cersei about Nunez starting there. It makes sense. They won't be in a low block. They'll be coming at us too, especially at the San Siro. Listen, you can't win all 38 games, right? I mean, it's just one team's done that. Not even one, just didn't lose. So it's hard. This league is hard. This league is exciting for a reason, because there's no easy games. We all on the pregame were saying 4-1, 4-0, 3-0, 3-1, 3-0. I mean, and it wasn't that, and it's gonna happen. Shit's gonna happen in this league, in this game, in this team with a new manager. But on the outlook, again, like I said before, if you were to tell me before the season started this would be our start, I would say okay, because I was super nervous that we were going to have to be very patient long term with this coach. They call the transition periods and all that, but he acquired a good team. He's got to get his points across. We saw some good stuff in the first 3 games. A rough one to go here. Okay, sucks that it was Nottingham Forest. They haven't won since like 1,000 years ago at Anfield. And okay, it is what it is. Let's see what kind of reaction. Let's see what the coach can do. I'm confident. I like this team. I like the coach. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, and this is why I fell into it too, and this is what I get for like having an optimistic prediction. But yeah, there's nothing like these easy on paper games end up being the worst for us. It always has been, because it's hard to get Anfield in the game, because they take it as like an easy one. Is it going to be 3 or 4 and stuff like that? And yeah, disappointing to lose points, especially when we got the teaser where like City could have lost points early on, and then of course Holland comes across and gets them across the line, and they get the 3 points. And this was the concern I had, like playing against a team like this, because this is the first time, and we're going to do it again next weekend against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So let's see how we adjust and what changes. Obviously, there'll be some rotation, but next up is Tuesday, Champions League. Next up for us will be morning show on Monday morning. I'll have the Polish Prince. We'll talk about this, and of course the Monday night podcast as we get ready for Champions League. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Go try the tri-tip instead of getting like ready-to-made shit. Go grill something for once, John. You're an adult now, man. Just go grill, do all the adult things. You're already going to Costco shopping and shit. So, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Like I say, try to enjoy the rest of your weekends, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.